Xin chào, what's up everybody? All right, in this video today we're going to talk about rent in Saigon, Vietnam, the increase in areas and the decrease in certain areas and the stabilization in other areas. Right now we're over in Thu Thiem at the pretty much the Metropole project is what all this is, but you're seeing right now one of the big problems that's happening here now is this place went from like a really quiet, really nice little, you know, residential apartment place to a full-on highway, super highway for 2 hours at night, 3 hours in the morning, just a lot of people around, a lot of traffic. It's kind of losing its appeal for how much it costs for all this stuff. So as far as looking at the apartments over here, this is pretty hectic. You've got cars constantly coming down through here all the time. They decided to open the road to really no benefit. They left it closed so this wouldn't happen. I don't really know why they quite opened it, but it is something to take note of. The apartments over here are going up around, oh man, 25% from year on, from last year. So the median price for the Opera, which we're looking at right now for a 2-bedroom, is somewhere around 32 million. And the median price for a 2-bedroom at the Crest is 30 to 33 million. And the median price for the Galleria is 35 million. But the Galleria and the Crest have the larger layouts. The smaller layouts are at the Opera. People are starting to really recognize that all these apartments, once the subway's done, are gonna go up. You know, we met with Mark today. I had lunch with Mark, old Vung Tao Mark, and I was telling him, he was asking me if I think people will take the subway, because we're gonna do another video on that, but the subway's gonna be operational in about 50 days. And I said, yeah, I think big time, a lot of people are definitely going to live on the line. They've already done the statistics on the Hanoi line, and a lot of people that have jobs along the line are living along the line now. So I know people think Vietnamese and their motorbikes, they'll never, you know, stop driving them. Well, that is true to some extent. I think a lot of people will flock to the subway. And it's going to open up access from District 1 to District 9 gigantically. Like, you'll be able to walk from here, which you'll see, it's about an 8-10 minute walk. And you're at the subway. And from the subway, you can go walk down, take the subway over to the Opera House, and you're at Win Way. You can take the subway over to Ben Tham Market after you're done at Win Way. On a hot day or a rainy day, it's gonna be a total game changer. So we'll talk more about that stuff in the Metro video. But I think what's gonna happen is all this stuff is just gonna continue to go up in value. You know, I'm looking for a new place now to lower my cost per month, and it's becoming way more of a challenge than what I thought it would be. We're right against the wire now, and I still haven't pulled the trigger on something, but all the inventory for everything good is going up, and then things that aren't in high demand are sustaining. Like Vinholm's Golden River is a phenomenal deal. If you don't have pets and you want a good location, you want to use the subway, Vinholm's Golden River is going to by far be your #1 location for affordability with size. The project is agreeably getting older, but that's okay. It still is good enough. It has nice pools that no one uses during the day except like bar girls tanning. So, yeah, the apartments looking at the LED sign, if you do not care about a view and you want to get in, the negotiating starting price is $28.29 at the Opera 2-bedroom, 74 meter, looking at that LED sign. I think if you are motivated to live somewhere where you don't mind looking at that sign, especially the lower 5 floors, if you can see what I mean, probably get you somewhere around 25 million in there. Galleria, pretty expensive. A lot of super rich people live in the Galleria. They're starting to do a better job on the Airbnb. There's just not a lot of inventory there. The Crest is pretty expensive. There's some inventory there, but they're asking some pretty up there prices. Like a 100 meter, they're asking 40 million for, with a bad view. I consider this a non-desirable view. Let me see, we'll go up on the bridge up here, and we'll see if you guys think, oh my God. And we'll see if you think that is a non-desirable or desirable view. You know, my wife wants to go really down in rent, but there's nothing that, she's okay. Like, Vietnamese have a way different standard of living. She's okay with a lower product, but you know, we're kind of, I'm setting the max for rent at $1,200 for 2 people with 3 dogs. I think that's pretty, that's my max top ceiling. That's where we're trying to be at. So I think that's okay. But this is the view of, in my opinion, the non-desirables. There's quite a few on those on the Crest. There's another 100 meter with bathtub for 37 million. And those are really nice units. They're spacious. So if you don't care about the view, the best view is looking at the bridge. That's what I have now, but you know, I think I'm almost positive my lady's gonna turn mine into a Airbnb. I've never had anybody like not negotiate so much on rent. It's okay. I'm not like upset about it. It was a good apartment. Some things aren't meant to be, you know. So the Opera has a super rich guy that bought one of the penthouses too. And this building, I think if this building's the Scalia. So there's a billionaire, like a billionaire, I think, like one of the richest guys in Vietnam, supposedly bought one of the penthouses up there. So like he does not like the Airbnb. So in the one building in the Opera, the Airbnb is pretty minimal because, you know, that guy bought one of the most expensive apartments in all of Vietnam. This is Grand Masteries over here. These are down to like 1,000, 1,200. You can see nobody's moved in there though. There's maybe 10 units rented in the whole place, 10 or 15, not a lot. That's the highest end project. The other building's supposedly gonna finish. I have my reservations. The mall's launching by March 2025. So there is not a delay in the mall. It is going to be a mall though. It's going to look just like Vincom Mall. That's the Marina Tower that you're looking at right here. And then that's Vinhome's Golden River, which has the most space for the best price. It's great if you don't have a pet. If you have a pet, it's useless. The pet policies at some of these places is absolutely insane. To not my standard at all. That's the river. We can get you in the river at a 2-bedroom around 27 million. That's no pets. And then the Zeiss next to it, that's not open yet. We're waiting for the handover. That kind of explains Thu Thiem. The last thing in Thu Thiem we'll talk about is Empire City, which you're directly looking at behind the LED sign. We can get you in there for 25 million for a 100 meter, very nice 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment with bidet. All nice place. If you're wanting to look at any of these, all these are available on my Patreon. So this kind of rounds out, and these are the most desirable areas to live in all of Saigon. Don't let anybody fool you. Ba San, which is Golden River, Vinhome Central Park, Thu Thiem are the real 3 areas that are coming up the quickest, and this Thu Thiem area is definitely the hottest. It's coming up in value by far the quickest. If you want to get a good apartment, lock it in. You know, they're negotiating the 2nd year on 2-year leases. And they're showing apartments that are still occupied. I've never seen them show apartments that are still occupied in Vietnam. They're doing it at the Crest. And, you know, we talked about it. I don't want to bang on these same points because this is just more of a general where the market's going, what we're at price-wise for stuff. The Thu Thiem's overvalued because of the Airbnbs everywhere, and they don't do anything about it. Like, The Airbnb is most functional in the Crest building. Galleria is working on it. The Opera has a bit better of a handle on it as well. It's really bad in the Crest, and it seems like they don't really care about it. So if that's something that's gonna piss you off, having Airbnb people around, almost all these areas are gonna be screwed. So I gave you the median price for stuff over on Through Them. The price for Golden River, you can be, you know, you can be 17 million for a 1-bedroom. I'm seeing some really nice 3-bedroom, 3-bath, big boy, over 100 meters for 25 to 28 million. You know, you can get in for around $700 to $1,200 and get some really nice shit there. You know, it is getting old. You can watch all my videos on these areas. I do individual areas and their little specific sub areas, and I talk more about the exact buildings. This is the stuff that I don't know of any agent that knows as much as the stuff I'm talking about right now. There's no Airbnb in Boston. It's the only place that doesn't have it. There's a lot in here in Central Park. There's a whole lot over here because this is the hot area right now. District 4, that whole stretch is a shit ton of Airbnb. That used to be the hot area kind of for Airbnbs before this whole Through Them deal. Now the most #1 Airbnb building is the Crests, the Galleria, and the Opera. So they all are gonna have Airbnb. The cheapest Airbnbs are over in District 4. There's so many people over there because you can get like a room for $40 a night. So any of those apartments, the Tresser, the Grand Marina, like all those different apartments, they all have a horrific Airbnb issue. And I don't think they're worth what they're asking for them, you know. Like the Tresser was asking, I want to say 20 to 23 million for a 2-bed, 2-bath that is pretty dated now. They're like 10 years old, 12 years old. They feel and look 10 and 12 years old. Everything's kind of blown out and worn out because it was a full-on hotel for a majority of its life. A lot of these things, before there was even an Airbnb, they were on Agoda first, the District 4 places. Millennium, all those buildings. So, Millennium, same, very, you know, there's a value there. Do I think it's worth 20 million for the 71 meter unit? No. They're looking into other people's apartments. You know, I think you're somewhere around 15 to 17 million for those. But the general theme that you're hearing here is rent is up everywhere. The days of getting a good apartment that is cheap outside of, you know, in a good building, a newer building, is getting very difficult. Very, very difficult. And it's going to continue to get difficult and more difficult. It's not going to get easier. As far as like little villas and stuff like that, we looked at those too. You know, they're wanting 20 to 23 million for your standard house, and it needs so much additional work. Like people tell me all the time, get a house, get a house. If you're gonna get a house that's cheap, it's gonna be in the middle of nowhere. So it's gonna be on the outside of town. And then you gotta put another 3, 4, 5,000 into these houses. They're never finished, they all need redone. Plus you then have to deal with all the extremities of Vietnamese neighbors. I'm okay with paying a little bit more to have peace and quietness. You know, there's Sunwall Pearl over here too, but it's like a no-pet building too. I'm not a big fan of the Sunwall Pearl. I think the location for Binthon sucks. For me, you can't really walk anywhere. I'm gonna show you guys some PVC apartments as well. And I think they're pretty expensive for what they are too. Like we looked at like, I think they called it a penthouse. They call bottom floor penthouses. But we looked at like a 100-meter penthouse and it was 23 million. I'm like, what are you smoking, bro? This isn't worth $1,000. And all these things are pushed up in value by a ton. I'm telling you, solely because of the Airbnb. It really is not anything else. It's Airbnb, and it's not, when I say Airbnb, I mean this is a general term for all things. Like there's Korean companies that just take care of Korean guys and put them in these. So like a holding company will buy 4 or 5 of these apartments in these units, in these apartment buildings for the sole purpose to just do nightly rentals. and they'll run it through that. There's a lot of places that do that. I explained to you guys the agents themselves that are maybe manipulating the actual owner of the unit, and they're getting them to Airbnb it, and the owner doesn't know, and that's how they're getting the higher rent. All those things have caused the market to just go insane. And then, you know, you get a lot of writing about stuff, and it's growing, the GDP's growing. The thing with Thutham that also is adding to the increase in rent is the office building, the Met is over there, or the Hallmark. Hallmark and Met, I think there's two of them, I can't remember. They're not the greatest names, but I think it's the Hallmark and the Met. Those buildings attracted every big company international. They're like the premium apartment buildings. So now you're getting people that are paid a pretty good wage that are willing to move into these higher priced apartments too. So that's another factor, almost like a Google moving into town and increasing things, which I saw in Venice. What I'm seeing on a pattern on a whole is rent is on the up and up. All the landlords want to get this increased rent. It's not going to go down. I think this market's at the top because of the Airbnb, and I think they know it. And I think a lot of the places are shifted to renting over the Airbnb because I think they know the ban is coming. Like they're going to really step in and do something. This is what I'm just told by agents. I have access to over 25 agents, all the different buildings. If you're looking to live in any building in D7, any of this stuff, you just got to hit me up on the Patreon and I'll help you out. We'll get you all situated. But, you know, we're at, for these premium, what they would call luxury, which they're not luxury, they're just regular apartments. It's because the standard of quality is so low in Vietnam that, you know, a normal Vietnamese apartment's would be pretty standard to us Westerners. But these Western standard, that's the word I like to use. These Western standard apartments, they're at a high, but they're not going to go down. I think it'll settle at where it's at. And I think the median price for the Opera at a 2-bed is 30 to 33, negotiable. For the LED view, if you're looking at the LED thing, you can get lower. And I already give all the price. We're not going to repeat the information. So that is, I think, the video. I don't think I have any more to add. Like I said, anywhere you want help to live, we can give you a shout. You can always just join the Discord too and pop in there for help. You know, if I actually help you rent an apartment, all I do is you know, ask that we do that properly. But I don't mind like answering questions and stuff. We're gonna include the Discord link in the description of every video from now on. So the Discord's free to sign up to. It's just like a chat type deal. Oh, also, Patreon is available. I talked about it briefly in the video. I try to wait till the end so you can just turn it off if you don't want to hear all this advertising stuff now. But Patreon has all the apartment stuff in 4K in great detail. And yeah, I can help you rent out through there. Also, a lot of additional information on there. So yeah, as ever, thank you for watching. If you leave a comment, it helps the algorithm so much. Smashing the like button helps the algorithm. Subscribing and hitting the button to all these things greatly help a YouTube content creator. So if you enjoyed the video, it's the least you can do. And if you ever want to see me again, make sure to subscribe. All right, stay frosty. We'll see you on the next one. Peace out.